Jacob was jacking at the time.
Speak.
Marker.
Action.
It was snowing pretty hard, so we weren't.
Action.
It was snowing pretty hard, so we weren't really sure, but it sounded like kind of like an engine coughing on and off. But that was it. We didn't hear anything after that. I mean, no crash, no engine, nothing.
No, you had it right. You're good.
Yeah. I think the possibility you're looking at is a bulbous movement.
Marker.
Set.
How's the snow, Mikey?
Good.
Ready. Action.
Well, it was snowing pretty hard, so we weren't really sure, but it sounded kind of like an engine cutting on and off. But that was it. We didn't hear anything more. No crash, no engine, nothing.
Anything you want to add to that, Jacob?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I guess that's it, guys. Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure, Carl. It's nice meeting you.
Think you can take us out there?
You mean to the nature preserve?
I have to go in the morning, I guess. After the storm passes.
Can you tell us what this is all about?
Tus trailers, visita mi canal.
Marker.
The scene ends with you guys climbing back in the truck, in which case you're going to have to get out and make him take the middle position.
Right.
Okay.
So he's going to come with us.
Yeah.
Good.
How the hell am I supposed to get in there?
Well, come over here to this side.
No, it's gonna wilt. Here, hand it in to me.
You didn't say hi to Mary Beth.
How you doing, Lou?
Marker.
Action.
Marker.
Set.
Action.
What's he doing here?
He needs a ride home.
A little out of the way, isn't it?
Well, I figure we'll drop it off when we're done. It's no big deal, Hank. You need to shovel this shit off your what do you call it here?
Good. Good one.
22 take. One marker.
Action!
Action.
Hi, baby.
Hey, brought him here?
Yeah, I invited him for dinner.
Oh, good. Good. Okay. So he's gonna do it?
I had to promise him the farm.
What? But we agreed. You said that you were gonna say something.
Well, where's he gonna go, Sarah, huh?
I don't know, honey. I don't know. But if he stays here, we get caught.
I know.
I'll just cut in sooner. I just didn't know whether or not you were going to get to a point where he never, he didn't ever get anything from it.
Right.
Because you're saying, yeah, he worked really hard, he tried really hard, and I didn't know if I was supposed to wait for that, which I don't have to do if that's all right.
You know, you're gonna end up in the shot.
Come on.
That's good.
Yeah, we're set. And
Buddy?
tilt. Action. Okay.
Here we go.
we got enough going
on. You want me to cook a souffle, too? I can do it. Please quiet
Tus trailers, visita mi canal.
All right.
Get yourself set, Bill, and we'll take it off. All right.
Okay,
Ready, and 1, 2, 3, action! Ready, and action! 1, 2, 3, action!
Marker.
Action.
I mean, that's what makes it a crime, doesn't it? Somebody getting hurt?
No, what makes it a crime is that it's against the law. No matter if anybody gets hurt or they don't. You get caught and you go to jail.
Nobody's gonna get caught. The money's the only evidence that we've done anything wrong. I mean, all we gotta do is we wait and we see what happens. If someone's searching for it, we'll burn it and that'll be that. I mean, there's no risk. We'll always be in control.
What about Jacob and Lou?
Well, I mean, as long as we're controlling the money, they'll just have to let us call the shots.
You get caught and you go to
Yeah,
jail.
nobody's gonna get caught. The money's the only evidence that we've done anything wrong. We sit on it and see what happens. You know, if somebody shows up, then we burn it, and that'll be that. I'd stayed up all night. I could not lay the book down. It is an outstanding first book by Scott Smith, and I think he was all of like 31, I think, when he wrote it. And I was hooked, and I turned my wife onto the book, and the book just kind of ended up, I gave copies of the book to friends, and my dad said, you know, you were born to play this part, and at the time I said, you know, after I read the book, I said, you're right, but I'll never get the opportunity to play Hank Mitchell. Scott Smith, who wrote the novel A Simple Plan, has written Hank Mitchell as a guy who's been married for about 5 years, and his wife and him are expecting their first child. I think they kind of saw themselves a little farther down the road economically. They were kind of hoping to be a little more upwardly mobile, but 5 years after they got out of college and then they got married. He's working at the local feed mill as the accountant there, and although they don't maybe have all the things they kind of hoped for economically, they've got a pretty bucolic kind of ideal life. You know, they love each other and they're excited about this baby that they're going to have. And Hank's got a brother, Jacob. Jacob is played by Billy Bob Thornton. I've always admired his work as an actor, and this was like the perfect chance for us to play brothers. In the story, our parents are both dead. They were killed in a car accident. And there's a little bit of a mystery about their death that's kind of revealed in the course of the story. My character is almost, in a weird kind of way, he's a little bit ashamed of his background, and he saw how hard his father worked all his life to try to keep this farm going, and then ultimately the father died broke, and you know, the government came in and repossessed the farm, and all the mortgages were called in. We see something down in this ravine, and it turns out to be this small little single prop airplane that's crashed in the snow and has been kind of buried in the snow. So we go down there, and as we go inside of the plane, we find a dead pilot, and we find a duffel bag with $4.5 million cash in it, and $100 bills. So initially, we're all going to do the right thing. We're going to, you know, notify the authorities and report it, and probably get our pictures in the local paper. But all of a sudden, you know, it comes up that what if we weren't to give the money back right away? It's not saying we're going to steal it or anything, but what if we just sat on it and see what happens? Maybe when they find the plane, there's no mention of the money. Hey, we could split up the money. We'd be set, you know, for life, the three of us. And that's the simple plan. I think it's going to be quite a ride for the audience, because through my character and Bridget Fonda's character of my wife, Sarah, I think just about any Mr. and Mrs. America will be able to just say, put yourselves in these positions. And at the beginning of the movie, they'll probably, I think every person in that audience is going to go, take the money, without thinking, like these people don't really think of the far-reaching, you know, things that this could cause. I think when people come out of this film, it's a very exciting, original, strong piece. And it's one of the best scripts that I've read in a long, long time. And to have Sam Raimi doing this movie and to have the actors I'm getting to work with on this, I think it's going to be a very special kind of film.
Usually 1 out of every 60 or 70 screenplays you read really has something that makes you stick with it to the end, you know. I'm one of these, you know, I read the first 10 pages and maybe the last 2 or 3 pages, you know, just to see, because you can kind of tell usually. And I was engrossed, you know, from the moment I started the script, and it's one of the best screenplays I've ever read. I just basically lay around the apartment with my dog and go get drunk with Lou all the time, and that's my life. I'm unemployed and everything. Kind of a slob, and really just a boy who's never grown up. You know, I think sometimes when you have disturbing things as a child, you kind of never want to get out of your childhood because you want to try to keep it going and make it good someday, you know. And that's really what Jacob is. Their lives are what they are. And one day, the two of us are going to go to the cemetery to visit our parents' graves, like a yearly ritual. And Lou comes along, much to Hank's dismay. And on the way back from the cemetery, my dog gets out of the car after this, and we've almost hit a fox, and we run into this tree, and my dog gets out and tries to chase the fox. And we find an airplane crash in the woods, a small plane that's crashed. And we find a lot of cash in it, $4.5 million. And you know, I don't want to go into exactly what happens because this is that kind of movie, but it's what happens to people in the middle of the winter, in the middle of nowhere, who have $4.5 million, who have never had anything. Jacob, more than anything, would like to have the family farm back. That's really, you know, that would be the ultimate to him, because he's still trying to regain that childhood thing, you know, the place where he still kind of lives in his head, you know. He doesn't want to lose that, and he thinks if he can get that farm back, everything will be okay.
Tráilers, visita mi
It's the
canal.
first movie I've seen in a long time that really does kind of reek of Hitchcock in spots. I mean, it's got that flavor and that weird mood and the humor. I mean, a lot of people don't think of the humor in Hitchcock's movies, but hey, it was there. And I think that this movie has that. I think if Alfred Hitchcock saw this movie, he'd love it. The great thing that Sam has brought to this movie is he's a great collaborator. I mean, boy, does he know how to defer and tell you when you're wrong, tell you when you're right. He has a great overview of the movie. I mean, there's sometimes when we'll be doing a scene and you'll be doing it one way, and he'll come up and say, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to skip that and just go right to this, or draw that out, or whatever he says to you. And usually actors don't take real well to that kind of stuff, you know, unless it is like a big famous director of some kind. And with Sam, you're so willing to do it, and you know he's right. And when he knows he's not right, he'll just say, hey, you're right, that's stupid, let's do this. And Sam is going to bring that sense of humor to the movie too. Sam's got a great sense of humor, and his own brand too. I mean, it's not like anybody else's, and he knows how to sort of steer our sort of weirdness into it. It's pretty cool.
She's basically put her wish list on hold and was very happy, and things were good, and they're going to have a baby, and they're going to have a life together, and she loves her husband. And it doesn't get any better than that until you're faced with the possibility that it might get better than that. And then once you embrace that, once that dream becomes a possible reality, it's not theirs, and they take precautions to safeguard themselves against the disappointment in case they have to get rid of it, or in case they can't keep it. They don't want to get caught, and they're so sensible. But the reality is that it creeps in, and you can't help it. Your mind starts to get mesmerized by the idea of it, and before you know it, it's yours, and in your head you've already spent it. And so then what do? You do anything to hang on to it, because to have it, something that's not even yours to begin with, to have it taken away is like having part of yourself cut out, because you've already in your mind spent it on your child's education and on a vacation and a better house with a bigger yard, and you have these dreams for this little baby. They said, what are you going to do next? And I just found out that I was going to get to do this, and it was the foreign press. And I said, I'm going to be doing a movie called Simple Plan, and with Bill Paxton and Billy Bob Thornton, and Sam Raimi's directing it. And one of the people there said, you've always wanted to work with Sam. I remember reading about that. I remember doing an interview with you, on, and it's true, and I had realized at that point, I have always wanted to work with Sam. I've been trying to work with Sam for, I don't want to say how many years, but for a long time, ever since I first saw his work, and now I get to. It's sad and funny. You're laughing and it hurts, because it's something inside you is saying these people are they're not right. They're so sad, and at the same time they're trying so hard to make their life okay, in spite of the horrible compromises that they've had to make, that they've made on themselves, that they've morally made.
I was really attracted to Simple Plan because the book was so engrossing. That novel, once you picked it up, you literally could not put it down. Scott Smith did a brilliant job writing the screenplay based on the book also. He really made it about real people that you knew, and then put you in this incredibly tense, suspenseful situation. And because he concentrated on creating these real characters, the suspense was magnified tenfold. So I think it was that really attracted me to the piece. In this movie, all the characters are drawn to this treasure, I think for different reasons. Bill Paxton wants to please his wife, and Billy Bob Thornton, he just wants to return to a simpler time. Maybe the money is the key to buying the farm of his childhood and reliving the best years of his life. And for Bridget Fonda, who plays Sarah, perhaps she wants the money because although she's content with the life that she leads, she's opened up her imagination as to what it could be when she possessed this cash. And now, as the movie progresses, doesn't want to let go of that dream. Bill Paxton and Billy Bob Thornton play brothers, and their relationship changes throughout the course of the picture. Bill Paxton starts as a fellow who is a little ashamed of his upbringing. He doesn't like to be reminded that he grew up on a farm and that his parents were uneducated. And his brother Jacob is a painful reminder of his past. So Bill has grown distant from his brother. And as the story progresses, Bill is thrown together with his brother in intense circumstances, but he's reminded about how much he loves his brother. And he's reminded how dear his brother is and what a sensitive person his brother is. And his brother really is, although he's uneducated, is the one in the film's climax with the moral conscience, not Bill Paxton. So Bill is really given insight into his brother's sensitivity and to his brother's humanity and to his brother's moral courage through the course of this picture. The movie is a thriller, primarily. It's a suspense thriller with hopefully characters that you can really identify with and enjoy. Bridget Fonda gives a great performance in this picture. I was really impressed by her, and she plays Hank's wife, who at first is this very sweet, docile young lady who needs to be convinced that taking the money is a good thing. But once she's accepted that idea, the seed in her mind grows, and she becomes accustomed to having this money. And she starts doing things to protect the money and the family. I think the way Bridget played it, which was really cool, is everything she does is as a mother. She wants to protect the baby. She wants to protect the family. Everybody in the film is innocent. That's what's so funny about it. They're all good people, and they just happen to be led toward evil deeds. Our heroes are these people who have committed the crime. So it puts the audience in a very strange, unusual position for them to be in, we really want them to get away with the crime, and it kind of twists you around and makes you feel uncomfortable when the picture's working. And it makes the suspense very unusual, because it's not about identifying with the good guy, is he going to catch the crook? It's more like, are we going to get caught? And I think the audience feels uncomfortable because they've been forced to commit the crime with these people who we understand. And we also feel suspense, some tension when it's working, because we're afraid we will get caught. And that's the brilliance of the script, is how he makes us identify with these people and understand them. It's much more difficult to keep it a secret when you know everybody in this tight little community than if you were in New York City and had committed a crime. Because it's almost like having committed a crime and keeping it a secret from your family. It's an extra layer of personal tension that our characters endure. The characters really are the ones that were telling the story in this picture. So I decided to present it in a very staid manner, where we could focus on their faces and their relationships and not try and draw the audience out of the picture with some fancy, dramatic camera move. I love watching Bill Paxton whenever he's in a situation and he's kind of juggling a few different things in his mind. Maybe the town constable comes to the door and hassles him about something, and I know what Bill's thinking. I know that he's thinking he's caught, he's screwed over, and he's got to put on this false front for the town sheriff and not let on that he thought that the sheriff was there to arrest him. It turns out he wasn't. But I love watching Bill hide his relief when he realizes that. Or I love watching Billy Bob Thornton anytime he is so immersed in his character that he just comments on the world in an ad lib that he comes up with, truly from the character's perspective. I just find that hysterical, because it's so real and so true. That's what the guy would say, of course. You are the guy. They're such good actors and actresses. And so my favorite moments are just watching them and being the characters. And that's why it's such an easy movie to direct, because they had great actors, and they completely got who they were supposed to be. And then you get them together and you watch these interactions, and they're just brilliant. They're exciting to watch, and exciting to be a collaborator with this team. So I enjoyed the whole thing.
It was half buried in snow, and they go into the point and they find the pilot dead, and they find $4.5 million of cash, and they decide that they're going to keep the money. Like, why not? I mean, it's probably drug money, it's probably, or criminal money of some time. It doesn't belong to it, it belongs to whoever controls it. So why don't we keep it and see if anybody comes looking for it, and if somebody does, we'll burn it, and if nobody does, we'll keep it. Sam was really interested in finding a piece of material where he could be more an actor's director than basically being a flashy camera guy. And he really has tailored his talents to helping the actors and to really shooting for performance. Well, Simple Plan really is a really powerful emotional piece that the audience will go on a real ride with, but it won't be necessarily the ride they expect.